Hey Bruins, and welcome back to the BruinCast. I'm Kyle,
And I'm Ben.
and this week on, we have someone a little different. You see, we normally have on teachers, but today we're lucky to get some administration here. Welcome to the show, Miss Shintaku.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing?
It has been a day, but here we are.
Well, really appreciate your time today. Getting started, want to tell us what you do kind of at Pondo?
I am currently working as the Dean of Students. So what that means is any issues, problems, supports that students need are basically my responsibility. So that's basically it.
So how do you get into that job?
I taught English here for about 13 years before I moved into this role, and it was not a position that existed before. So they created the position, and then I jumped into it.
Nice. So teaching English then, did you imagine yourself going from a teacher to administration, or did you think you'd always teach?
I don't really know. It was kind of a role that popped up that I thought might be a good fit for me. So I decided to pursue it. But I definitely don't dislike teaching English. I could go back to doing that and still be happy.
Yeah.
Busy work?
In class?
Just like what you do on campus.
Yes, it is busy. Always.
Well, if you don't mind, could you run us through what your average day as the Dean of Student Services might look like?
So the interesting thing is that there isn't really an average day. It can be really, really quiet with almost no problems, or it can be, problems starting from 7 o'clock in the morning, clear till 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Anywhere from, kids having emotional struggles, breakups, fights, vapes, working through family conflicts, just all over the board. So it's an interesting job because it's never the same.
So before Pondo then, did you teach anywhere else, or is this your first school that you've been at?
So I started teaching in Sacramento down at Hiram Johnson High School, and I was there for a few years. And then I moved to a much smaller sort of rural school that was grades 7th through 12 for a couple years, and then I came up here to Pondo.
Nice. As a kid then, kind of what got you into the teaching route?
So as a kid, I was not good at English. I was kind of failing English. And then I ended up taking a class at the community college that I really, really enjoyed. And I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe I don't hate English. Maybe this is something that I'm interested in and I enjoy. And I kind of always wanted to go into a career where I could help people and work with young people. And so that ended up being a good fit.
So do you feel like if you started in administration without the teaching experience, how would your approach to that differ to your job now?
You actually can't do that. You have to have some sort of prior experience, either as a counselor or as a classroom teacher for at least 5 years before you can move into get your administrative credential. It's a separate credential you have to get.
Never knew that. So what does the process look like to get the credential?
There's two ways. You can do like a regular college program, or there's an exam that you can take.
Nice.
And then after that, you have to do like a 2-year, not internship program, but kind of like a mentorship program.
Kind of like what teachers normally do to get into teaching, right? Like you go to a school for however long, 6 months or a year normally?
It's a year.
A year, okay.
Yeah. And then after that, you can apply for your clear credential, and then you just pay $100 every 5 years.
So, outside of school, then, what do you do in your free time?
I have 2 little girls, so that keeps me pretty busy. They're 4 and almost 8, and they're very deep into Taekwondo. So we're at Taekwondo 4 days a week. And I have 2 rescue dogs. And that I like to travel a lot, and that's about it.
Where have you traveled?
This summer we went to Mexico as a family, and I went to Japan. And then this coming year, I'm going to go to Korea for a little bit and then back to Japan.
Nice. Kind of all over the place, Mexico and...
Yeah. Mexico was a easier one for the kids because it's a little bit closer. Yeah. I'm actually taking my youngest to Japan for the first time for spring break. So we'll see how that goes. She'll be 4.5.
I guess would the quickest way to get there be going kind of towards Hawaii in that way, or would you go to Atlanta or like the East Coast and over?
I think
across
normally
Europe?
you go Hawaii
Okay,
direction.
specific. How long of a flight is that?
About 10 hours.
Whew.
So it's not terrible, but it's definitely long.
Yeah. So I guess do you have family out there that you visit then, or is it?
Mostly friends.
Okay.
My family that is or was there like has died, or no, not, like nobody that I'm directly close to.
Yeah.
But no, most of my relatives are here in California. I just go visit friends when I can.
That's neat. What's your favorite place you've ever been to for travel?
I think like 12 years ago, maybe I went to Italy, and that was a super cool trip. And obviously Japan is fun because I
Yeah.
go there a lot.
I guess like yeah, because outside of it, because like something maybe a better question, like what's the most unique spot that like is like a most memorable experience you have traveling?
Okay. That is a very difficult question because like that's my favorite thing is to go to new places and explore and just kind of do that. But most recently, I kind of went out into the middle of nowhere in Japan, and I was gonna climb a mountain, but then it was pouring rain, so I didn't end up climbing the mountain. But they had like little gondolas to go up the mountain. And the weather forecast said the rain was going to stop. So I'm like, okay, I'll ride the gondolas up. I'll wait out the rain because they had like a little cafe up at the top, and then I'll hike down. But then the storm kept getting worse and worse. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to ride this gondola back down this mountain in this storm. And that did not feel very safe or great. But I made it down the mountain. And then nobody else was there because nobody else is stupid enough to go to a mountain in the middle of nowhere in the rain. And so all the people at the place I was staying were kind of like, why are you here? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? But no, it was a super good adventure. I didn't die. And that's always the best kind of adventure.
Yeah, a gondola high up in the rain, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it was a little bit unnerving.
So, saying like, so you like to travel to different places to get new experiences. Is that part of what you enjoy with administration? Like you said, kind of it's a different thing each day.
Yeah, I think so. I'm definitely somebody who gets bored easily. And so teaching is fun, but often like the curriculum stays the same every year. And the kids are different every year, but you know, there's only so many times you can read of Mice and Men before you're like, okay, here we go again. So yeah, the variety is nice because it's never the same thing twice.
Yeah, it's always different. So looking ahead in 10 years then, what do you see for yourself?
I don't really know. I think that I don't know that I would want to be the principal of a comprehensive high school. I see what Mr. Hunt deals with all the time, and just the political aspect I think would be not super enjoyable for me.
So just when you say that, is it like kind of the way he has to interact with like the school board and trying to do that, or is it more of like kind of dealing with parents and actual politics? Like which?
It's all of that, right?
Okay.
The demands of the school board and keeping those people happy, looking at what the kids need, and trying to balance like funding and then the demands of the teachers. It's a lot of different elements trying to balance and find a common ground for everybody. And I think that's really, really hard to do because somebody's always mad at you, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't make everyone happy. Yeah.
It's kind of like being a business. I mean, I would think of it as being like a business owner where you can just hire people and then hands off make you money. But seems like it's the busiest job of a school.
Yeah, and just having to be on all the time. If something goes wrong on the weekend, even though it's the weekend, you're still here, right? So
I guess for your job, would that be the same? Like if something happens on the weekend, they would call you in, or is it more just the principals and vice principals that deal with that?
It's mostly the principal, and like Mr. Slakowski oversees all of the facilities and things.
Okay.
So I know he receives a lot of those calls. And then our plant manager, Mr. Medina, also, manages the physical buildings and everything. So he deals with that stuff a lot too.
So does each vice principal have like a different area of the school to deal with? Is
Yeah.
that how it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what do the other two vice principals deal with?
So we have it broken up by like subject department, and then like athletics and English as a second language. What are some of the other divisions? Special education services. So kind of all the little divisions within the school are broken up.
Okay, so like you get this group, you get this group of.
Yeah.
Okay.
You oversee math, you oversee history kind of situation.
So how do you and the other vice principals then communicate with teachers to kind of make sure everyone's on the same page with that stuff?
So when students are dismissed on Mondays for early release, right, the teachers stay and do their department meetings. And so the vice principals kind of rotate between the departments that they oversee. And then we have a monthly leadership meeting as well. Each department has a department chair. And so the department chairs come together and meet with administration. And we kind of make sure that everything's being communicated and everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. My parents are in management. So it's interesting to see how like they both didn't start from management, so like it was all the time like complaining about having to do meetings, but as I've seen them get up there and having to like schedule those meetings because they're overseeing people, I see how like the narrative changes, because it's a little bit more like we need these meetings to know actually what's going on so I can do my job.
Yeah, that's and sometimes meetings could be an email, like I'm not gonna lie. But I think I gotta be honest, there's some people who don't read their emails, and so that face-to-face kind of communication is important too.
Yeah. So during COVID, did you notice anything at the school administratively kind of really shift that stuck around, or is everything kind of back to as it was before COVID?
I think the biggest change is that before COVID, not everybody was online. Like there were still some teachers without classroom websites. And since that shift has happened, everybody's using Google Classroom at bare minimum, right? And so that's kind of changed how people approach school, right? Like if you go out and you're gone for a week, you can check Google Classroom and do your schoolwork and kind of stay up on top of things. And so that's like affected our attendance, and that's become a piece that we're kind of having to more actively manage and make sure kids are coming to school. I would say technology is definitely probably the biggest piece out of that.
Okay, that's interesting.
I've always wondered, is it like, I notice everyone using Google Classroom, is that like a requirement or?
So when we went into COVID, that second year, you guys were probably in middle school?
Yeah, I think 7th grade is we had the rough of it.
Okay. So that first spring, we were using kind of an online canned program where you watch the video and answer the questions. And then when we started again in that fall, it was teachers teaching on Zoom through Google Classroom. And so everybody had to then get on Google Classroom, digitize all their material so that they could do Zoom class, basically.
So, kind of along a similar line then, like, I know like we use Google for everything. We use Google Docs, Google Slides, for papers, for presentations. Before Google became such a big part of the school, like, have they been around since really the computers have become part of the school? Or is it kind of a time period where there was computers without Google, so they used other...
So back in the day, you know the computer labs?
Yeah.
If you wanted your class to do any research on the internet or type a document, you would have to reserve the computer lab.
Okay.
And so it was all like Microsoft Word, that kind of thing. And then Chromebooks came out, and Chromebooks are obviously Google, and so we kind of moved to the Google Apps for Education, maybe 8 to 10 years ago?
Okay.
And then, like I said, when COVID hit, that was just kind of, okay, we're all in, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. So looking right now and ahead, like at the immediate future, what are some of the biggest changes behind the scenes you guys are trying to make to the school to improve things here?
I think the biggest change right now is learning AI and how to implement AI in education without it just being like a crutch for kids not to do their work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, obviously that's the direction we're going. And 15 years ago, everybody was freaking out because Google was a thing and kids were just Googling the answers. And now everybody's kind of freaking out because kids are just using AI to write their papers.
Yeah.
And so it's teachers having to learn the tools and how to teach kids to use the tools that they're still learning themselves, because it's all just such a new, rapidly developing system.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big challenge, and that's kind of the main push right now is like, what are we doing with AI?
So
It's super interesting to me. AI is like one of my favorite like topics right now. It's really interesting to see like as I get through high school how the perception of AI has changed, because when it was first like becoming a big thing with ChatGPT and OpenAI and everything, it was just seen as a tool for students to cheat. But now in my English class we actually have a thing where you can cite like that you used an AI,
Okay.
and like they actually teach you kind of how to use an AI like responsibly. So it's still like you're writing, but you can get like ideas and stuff off of it, or even like she was describing it as Miss Elk. She was describing it as if you're stuck and you need help, you can get an AI to write like a paragraph for you or two, and then you can kind of get yourself going.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see such like a like what's seen as like an evil tool become something that's like really helpful for education.
Yeah. And that's where we're going, right? So we have to figure out how to be responsible with it and use it to be beneficial for us, I think.
So with an issue like Google in the past, AI now, how do schools create policies for it? Like, does it come from the district top down, or is it schools create their policies initially as it's a new tech, and then as time progresses, the districts then create policies?
It kind of depends on the issue, honestly.
Okay.
Typically, when it's a new thing like this, teachers create classroom policies, and then as it becomes a more widespread issue, the school says, okay, hey, this is a site-wide thing now. We got to start talking about it. And the principals get together and say, okay, what are we doing with this? And the superintendent, and it's a conversation now that's happening at the school board and superintendent level, looking at how are we doing this all together as a district? Let's get on the same page. When we had that day off a couple weeks ago, the teachers went to a professional development symposium that was AI focused. And that was the whole district, everybody coming together to kind of brainstorm about what we're doing.
So as we wrap up here, normally we ask teachers if they want to give a pitch for their class. Since I'm not a teacher, I have a different question. I was wondering if there's anything you could think of that when students think of administration, they might not realize this is what you do. Something kind of fun or different, where it's
Like for my job or for...
I guess, yeah, for your job, like something that you would do that students would never realize you do as part of your job.
I don't know. I think that I kind of do a little bit of everything around here. Like if,
Yeah.
I mean, truly, if there's
Yeah.
just like, because we have the radios, right? And so the radio will go off, and if it's, go chase the kid down the road, I'm chasing the kid down the road. If it's someone's crying in the bushes, we get them crying out of the bushes. Somebody needs a sandwich, we get them a sandwich. And so, yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot, and I don't even expect half of it to come across my plate, and it does. So,
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
yeah,
It was a lot
thank
of
you.
fun. Bye.
Bye.